Hi everyone, it's me, See Left You Want Run. Ooh, I don't even know my name. I'm back from Boston. So I'm here to tell you all about my experience. I'm going to do it in two videos. The first video is just going to be about my experiences leading up to the race. And then the second video is going to be race specific. So tune into both if you want, tune into one, tune into none, whatever you want to do. So left for Boston, April 11th at about 7:30 in the morning, LA time. Got to Boston around 4 o'clock later in that afternoon, checked into our hotel, Hyatt Regency Boston, which was in the Boston Commons, kind of near Chinatown. That's important because I think the location of the hotel is really great. So if you're ever going to run Boston, my advice would be to stay near the Commons because it was really close to where the buses pick you up in the morning. And all of the race day events like the expo and any panels you might want to listen to, the Fan Fest, which is right outside of the expo, those were all within walking distance. I think they were about a mile from the hotel. So that was great too. So I wasn't in the hustle and bustle of everything. But if I wanted the hustle and bustle, I can get there very easily. So Wednesday, nothing really to report. Thursday morning, my husband and I got up. We went on a shakeout run. It was freaking 84 degrees in Boston on Thursday. We ran along the Charles. I had a 5-mile shakeout to do. My period was 8 days late. Why does that matter? Because when the week before your period, your hormones are high. And when you're running, efforts just feel harder. And so I was thinking like, oh, great, it's going to come at the perfect time for Boston. It's going to be done. And then I'm going to have about a week before the race and I'll be done with it. And no, it was late. So by Thursday, it still hadn't come. And it was really stressing me out, which is kind of silly when I think about it, because I'm like, it's beyond my control. But you want things, when you've been training for something, you don't want to get derailed by something like you get sick or something like that. So I was really just kind of stressed about the whole situation, nor do I want it to come when I'm in the middle of a marathon, right? So there's all of these things that go into play. But anyway, we did a 5-mile run. We had our kids with us. So we did the duck tour. I scheduled that later in the afternoon. And then we rented some bikes and went through Cambridge and showed my kids like Harvard and MIT and Boston University and all of that good stuff. And then we had lunch, and that was really all I remember from that day. So Friday morning, did a 4-mile shakeout run. Again, it was like 80 degrees, really hot. Get up though before the shakeout run, and my youngest son says he doesn't feel good. His stomach hurts. So I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. Your stomach hurts. But in my mind, I'm like, man, it's, he just woke up, whatever. So my oldest son stayed in the room. Husband and I went for the run. While I was running, saw Nell Rojas just casually running on the Charles by herself. I gave her a little nod. She nodded back. And then I hit my husband. I was like, that was Nell Rojas. He's like, who's that? He doesn't know. So he does know. He knows who she is now. So as we're finishing up the run, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm going to go to the expo. It's Friday. I wanted to get there by 11, get a call from my oldest son saying Ben threw up. So I was like, you've got to be kidding me. My period is late. And now my youngest child is sick in my hotel room with God knows what. Food poisoning, the flu, I don't know. So then my stress level at that point was like at an all-time high. So we go to Walgreens and get like Lysol and stuff. And I make my husband go into the room first. I was like, you Lysol everything down before. And we had a 1-bedroom, fortunately. So I was able to kind of stay separate. But I was like, Lysol everything down before I get in there. And so he did. And my youngest was sick. He had no appetite, didn't want to like leave the room. And I know him well enough to know that if he doesn't want to eat, he's really sick. So I was like, crap. Oh my gosh. So my oldest son was a champ, stayed at the room with him while my husband and I went to the expo. Although the plan wasn't to take the kids to the expo anyway, they would not have enjoyed it. So, and my husband was sweet. He kept going, this weekend's about you. Do whatever you want. If you want me to stay back with the kids, I will, and you can go to the expo. But we ended up both going, and it was super crowded, as you would expect for a race for 30,000 people. we got all the Adidas swag. I probably went over the top with Adidas swag. And the line to pay for everything was an hour and a half. We waited in line for an hour and a half. It was worse than waiting in line at Disneyland. And so again, he's like, I'll wait in line, just, you shop and bring me the stuff and I'll just stay here and go check out the expo. And by the time you're done, I will probably be at the front ready to pay. They had a Sam Adams like bar. So I went and got him a beer. Seemed like a good wife. I went and got him a beer. I think they were non-alcoholic beers, but it was really good. I had one too. And as he was checking out, I went and was sitting to watch a panel, and they had the race director of the Boston Marathon on this panel. So I listened to him and all of his stories, and that was really interesting. Got a photograph with him. He looks like Tommy Lee Jones, totally. And then right after that, I totally was geeking out. Like I could have stayed there all day and listened to panels, but there were other things I wanted to do as well. I was just kind of torn between two things. And then there was another panel with Sarah Hall, Alfine Tulamak, and Sarah Vaughn. And they were talking about being elite marathoners and having children, and how that makes their lives different than other people. So that was an interesting panel to listen to. And that was fun. And that was hosted by Allie on the Run. And then after that, my husband left, and he's like, well, if you want to hang around on Boylston Street, and I'm going to go check on Ben. I was like, all right. So then I saw another panel with Meb Kefleski. I always mess up his last name. And that was really interesting too. And he talked about his experiences winning the 2014 Boston Marathon. And then he came down afterwards, and people were like waiting. I wanted to get a picture with him, but at the same time, like, I'm not one to be like, oh, can I get a picture? Like, it just makes me really uncomfortable. So I just I thought, if it's convenient, I'll ask for one, but I don't want to like put him out. So I didn't put him out and went on my merry way. Went back to the hotel. Son is still sick. I felt bad because my oldest son had been in the room with my youngest all day. And so my husband was like, why don't I take Sam to the Red Sox Angel game? And you can stay with Ben. I was like, perfect. Because at that point I was tired. I had walked a lot during the day. And so I stayed back with my son in my room, and my youngest was in the living room. And then my husband and oldest went to a Red Sox game, an Angel game, and they had a great time. So that was Friday. Oh, and I think I said still no period, right? So still no period. Saturday. Oh, okay. So Saturday, I signed up for a Believe in the Run. Like they were giving out card boxes with Heather. I always want to call her Heather. Her name's Meghann. Meghann Featherstun or Featherstone. Her name's Meghann Featherstone, but her company is Featherstun. So from Featherstone Nutrition, and I love her. She's the nicest person. So anyway, I signed up to get one of their card boxes at New Balance, and it said 8 to 10. So I thought, okay, I have to get there. It's from 8. I didn't know if they were talking about nutrition or what was happening, or if it was a window and I can drop in anytime. So I was like, we got to get there by 8. We got to get there by 8. And I think we got there around 8:30, and I wasn't running on Saturday. I took a rest day. But what was really cool is the Boston 5K was going on. So I am glad we left early because I got to see some of that. And that was fun to watch. And that was also started the Boston Commons right near our hotel. So, and then I got to the New Balance store and I met Thomas and Megan Marie and then Meghann Featherstun, and all super nice. Got a picture, got a lot of like free stuff, bagels, animal crackers, pretzels, swag, like this cool, just happens to be here, this cool little bottle. It's a good bottle too. Very nice. Meghann Featherstone was super nice, like going into conversation. And I was just like, I don't know how you guys do all these events and then you run. Like the emotional energy that it takes to do that. And then to try to run your best, like that's just, but I understand it's also their job. I'm just glad it's not my job. I'm glad that I can like go to things that I can pick and choose. Like, I want to go to this, but I'm too tired to go to this. Like they kind of, I feel like, have to do some of these things because they have relationships with these shoe companies. Anyway, great event, got a picture. And then walking back and just enjoying like Newbury Street, I see Kira D'Amato, in front of the Nike store. No one's really like going up to her or anything. So I go up to her, I start chatting, and I got a picture with her. Super nice, you know? And I was like, wow. And she was like very engaging, like, oh, are you running on Monday? Good luck. You know, I hope you do well, blah, blah. It's just like, I didn't, you know, again, didn't feel like you're just seeing these people in these casual spaces in life. And that is just, you're not going to get that experience anywhere but Boston, because Boston is like a big, small town. And so it would not be uncommon to walk into a Dunkin' Donuts while you're in Boston and see an elite athlete. So that like was just really cool. So talked to her, had a great morning. Oh, started my period on Saturday. So I was like, oh my gosh. Oh, and on Saturday, Ben was feeling better. Ben made a miraculous recovery. So the sun, like literally, like figuratively, the clouds parted and the sun figuratively came out on Saturday, because those things fell into place for me. And Ben like ate breakfast, was ready to rock and roll. So I don't know if he was just exhausted or maybe he ate something bad. But at that point, I was like no longer worried about getting sick from him anymore. So yeah, so Dan and I tootled around town, took the kids that night. The four of us went to the Angels Red Sox game, and that was a lot of fun. Boston won. And I don't even remember. I know I had a pretzel at the game. I don't even remember, like, really, I was just eating a lot of bagels and like graham crackers and stuff, trying to keep my diet like not too much fiber, keeping it simple. So that's kind of a downer, because we were there for a lot of days before the marathon. So I couldn't really enjoy, like I stopped drinking. And like I was nervous to go. Oh, we had pho. I got Vietnamese noodle soup, which I always do before races. There's a pho place right by our hotel. So yeah, I was just trying to keep it very basic. So that was Saturday. Sunday, I met up with this woman, her name's Renata, from my Luke Humphrey Run Club. And we were supposed to meet with another guy from the Luke Humphrey Run Club. His name is Jacob, but he just didn't show to the shakeout. So we were like, okay, well, I guess it's just the two of us. And Renata, she's a badass. Like, she's a sub 3-hour marathoner. She's in her 40s. She runs like 100-mile weeks. Like, we're just in way different places. She just ran Charleston like 2 weeks ago and like PR'd sub 3. So we did an easy run together, and I felt like I could go longer, but at 3 miles, I was like, I'm just doing 3 today. And she's like, I'm fine with that. You know, she was running Boston for fun, having come off Charleston 2 weeks ago. So, yeah, we were like, I wonder what happened to Jacob. Don't know. Okay. So that was Sunday. So my plan was just to kind of keep it light. So did that with her, went back to the hotel and was like, I'm out for the rest of the day. Like, I'm staying in the hotel and I'm resting. And so my husband took the kids to like the museum and just gave me some quiet time. And I just binge watched some TV. And while I was doing that, I checked my email. There's an email from Luke Humphrey saying, please help, ladies. I know you're in Boston. And if you could, Jacob, who's Luke coaches Jacob personally. So I'm part of the Luke Humphrey Run Club, but I don't have a coach. I just use the resources and I get my plans. And if I have a question, one of the coach, it's usually Luke, will answer it. But I don't have someone who's like watching my running. And but so Jacob is one of his clients. So this poor guy, Jacob, his flights were canceled like 8 times. And he was supposed to leave Saturday. So he was supposed to arrive Saturday. That's why he was going to do the shakeout with us. Sunday, he wasn't even going to make it in time to go to the expo because all of his flights had been canceled. And his last flight was in Baltimore. And he was supposed to fly from Baltimore to Boston, and the flight was canceled. And he couldn't get on another flight. So he had to rent a car and drive from Baltimore to Boston. So Luke was like, hey, you know, if you guys can go to the expo. and get his bib or find a way to get the bib, that would be great. And so Renata went to the expo and they told her that they would have his bib. They couldn't give her his bib, but they said they would have his bib at the buses on Monday before the race. So poor Jacob, this guy, like, I'm like, oh my gosh, he still ran a 3:09 in Boston after all of that, you guys, a 3:09. Anyway, so fortunately, Jacob got his bib on Monday morning. That is why he didn't come to the shakeout. So that was everything leading up. My sleep was really good. Started my period. Then, so I had, it was like my training cycle leading up to it, you know, just a series of ups and downs. So once that all fell into place, I was like, I feel like I'm going to have a really good race tomorrow. Oh, and the weather, you know, I kept watching the weather and it kept changing. At one point, it was like, you're going to have a tailwind the whole way and it's going to be about 55 degrees and no rain. And then it was like, there's going to be rain and then there's going to be a headwind and da, 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 da. And I got to the point where I was like, I just need to stop. It is what it is. You can't control it. And I was like, doesn't matter what the weather is because I am going to run. Whether it's hot, snow, sleet, I don't know, but I am running and I'm finishing the marathon on Monday, regardless of the weather. So, and we're all running under the same conditions. So anyway, this concludes part one of my, oh, forgot to say this. So when I was with Renata after our shakeout, we walked down to Boylston Street because I wanted to go to Tracksmith because Tracksmith was having another shakeout run. And I thought, oh, Tina Muir was going to be there. I really wanted to meet Tina Muir. I really like her a lot. And, you know, Tracksmith's a big store, like, so I got some Tracksmith gear. And when I got there, they were taking out off for the shakeout. And I was like, I don't want to run anymore. I didn't see Tina Muir. I did see Tommy Runs and I did chat with him for just really briefly, really nice guy. Yeah, I bought Boston Top from Tracksmith. And then I'm in the Dunkin' Donuts with Renata. And who's there waiting for her coffee? Kira D'Amato. Start talking to her again, get yet another picture of Kira D'Amato. And I like Kira D'Amato because she's like me. I mean, she's a lot faster, but she's a mom of two. She has a separate job and the things she does are really impressive. She is sponsored by Nike. So anyway, yeah, I'm not a fan of Nike, but whatever. I hope they pay her well and they're taking good care of her because she deserves that. So anyway, part two, coming soon, not coming soon, coming shortly, race day. So tune in for race day details.